Live, back in action, attacking your speakers from the field to the bleachers. This is the Power 32 podcast, baby. We are in the house with the smart ass, Mr. Kenny Culp. How we doing today, sir?
Pretty good. Trying to stay cool here.
Yeah, I know you and I both, man. We got a California guy over here, South Florida. We got Mr. Primetime 313 up in Detroit. He don't know nothing about the heat right now.
What up, though? Our heat up here doesn't start till like mid-July, and then it gets so hot. You're waiting for November to come back, man. We're at about 60 degrees or so here. So big guy like me, I don't like the 90 and 90 like where you are, Jason. I can't, the 85 degrees and 90% humidity. I don't do well in that.
The only reason, again, why I'm here, well, not the only reason, but the reason that initially brought me to Florida, South Florida, was the weather. I was sick and tired of dealing with long winters from November till April. I mean, it's just enough is enough. I couldn't take it. If winter was like 2 months long, I never would have left New York. But
exactly. Well, same reason.
Yeah, I'd rather have the heat, man. So that's what I'm down with. And we're down with NFL action today. We got some rookie impacts. We got free agency. We got a lot of news to talk about. Obviously, the George Pickens trade over to Dallas. That's very interesting. And I haven't got these guys' opinions yet. So I don't know what is going on. I can't wait to find out. We see what up to Under the Helmet podcast versus Join the Crow.
Thank you.
He loves the new mic.
Yeah, man.
Loves the mic that Prime is rocking.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man. It's the Yeti Blue. It's I paid like under $130 for it, man. Actually, I paid like 116 or something altogether. I think I told Jason the whole story, but yeah, it's I'm loving it.
Yeah, man. You got the radio voice going with that radio mic right there, man. It's all working out. It's a beautiful thing. Well, since we're showing stuff off, I want to show this off real quick. This is just a little sample of something I'm going to tell you guys about. Today's show is actually brought to you by, and I want to get this right, so I'm going to read it. Jordan L. Cronin Charitable Fund, which is a donor-advised fund with Community Foundation, named after a young sports fan, Jordan Cronin. His story, which you can find, and I will tell you where, is also a great donation site about a young sports fan and his tragic end at such a young age. I'm not going to tell you the story here. You're going to have to go find out for yourself. But he loved football. He loved basketball. He was just like us. We want to keep his memory alive and memory strong. And you can do that by going to the website, which is joinusforjordan.org. Now, it's join us for, that's FOR, not the number 4. Joinusforjordan.org. Go to that site where you can read all about it and get some really cool gear. They got a lot like shirts, hats, mugs. They got all sorts of different kind of shirts, tank tops, like pajama bottoms and stuff. This thing is really cool. This was given to me, not for the show. It was given to me as a birthday gift. Yes, today is my birthday. I'm 5 years old. I don't know how that happened. Unbelievable. That's my gift, and I'm happy to show it off. And again, I want you guys to go to joinusforjordan.org. Check out the site and get some really cool things while you're at it. So we'll be shouting as we go along, man. No doubt. So we got a lot to get to today, fellas. But you know what we got to do first, right? You know it's first. Yeah, man.
Hey, I got one for you too, though. So we got a bonus. We got bonus.
Yeah, I got.
So go ahead and start.
All right, I see the student is trying to become the teacher. Okay, I see what's happening right now. All right, well, let me give you mine first. Here we go, fellas. Which NFL team has the longest regular season winning streak ever at 23 straight games? Longest regular season winning streak ever at 23 straight games.
I only have one guess. What do you got, Prime? One team? You got a couple.
I'm thinking
if you can give the year, that'd be even more impressive. But I'll take
it's possibility of 2 teams, and I think they're both from the same division. It would either be Miami back in the 70s, or wouldn't it be the Patriots?
Okay,
when they went undefeated, and I think they may have won the last few before the season before, or the first few the season after. But either the Dolphins or the Patriots. But I'll probably, if I got to pick one, I'll go Patriots.
Patriots, who did have an undefeated regular season, and you're going Dolphins because of that 72 undefeated season.
We got it covered either way, Kenny. I think.
All right. Well, I like where you guys' heads are at, but your heads are wrong. Your heads are wrong. I'm sorry. Actually, it's the Indianapolis Colts who started it in 2008, ending that year with 9 teams, and then they started 2009 winning 14 straight.
Wow.
So regular season, They won 23 in a row from 2008 to 2009. That'd be Peyton
That was
Manning.
tricky.
I was going to say, I'll go out on a limb and say that was Peyton Manning.
Oh yeah.
Not Eli.
That's the tribute for the day. All right, so I'll take this one. But so you got one, huh? Prime time. All right, sneaking one in here.
I do, and
Okay.
Kenny, feel free to chime in on this as well.
Okay, I got one too. So.
In the illustrious
history day, I love it.
In the illustrious history of the NFL, there's only been one rookie to win the NFL Offensive Player of the Year. Who is that man?
I think I know who it is.
Bonus if you get the year.
I have a guess.
And actually, and I'll a little bit extension on that. He actually won it his first 3 years in the league.
Oh. I'm going to say, because it just first came to my mind, I'm not going to think about it too much, Eric Dickerson.
Eric Dickerson. Kenny, your guess?
That was my guess because I know that season he broke the record for the most rushing yards by a rookie, and so I would guess it's him.
Actually, guys, you're both incorrect. It was Earl Campbell for the
Houston Oilers. All right.
He won it in 78, 79, and 1980. Unreal, man. The first piece of NFL memorabilia that I ever got was from my granddad. It was an autographed Earl Campbell football.
Oh wow, no kidding.
And I had that thing for years, and we moved around a lot when I was younger, and just kind of got lost in the sauce. But Earl Campbell, man.
That would have been nice to have. Hall of Famer, man. I mean, that dude, he trucked people. He was
my God.
It's funny you say that, Prime, because I moved around a lot when we were younger too, and I had a Joe Montana rookie card that we lost, and then 5 years later, the janitor from our building called my mom up because they were friends and said that he had the card.
No way. No way.
So I still have it. Still have it.
Yeah, I love it. That's great.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Yeah.
Kenny, did you say you had a trivia question?
I do. I don't think you're going to get it. Kenny,
we're probably not going to get it, Jay.
I don't think you're going to get it, but it kind of applies to me because of where I went to school. If you could remember that, I don't know. But
oh shit.
What two quarterbacks came from the University of Delaware? One won a Super Bowl, one lost the Super Bowl.
Joe Flacco.
Yeah, Flacco won, and
I feel like Jim Plunkett might be. I might be jumping the gun on that one. Let's think a little bit. Delaware. We got Flacco. That was the easy one.
Flacco's the easy one, yeah.
Was it Delaware or Delaware State that had the imitation Michigan Wolverine jersey or
University of Delaware is blue and gold, but they're not like navy blue.
That's Troop 81. We need the other one. We got Flacco.
I think it was Plunkett. I think I'm gonna just say a name all the time. I'm not real big on Delaware quarterbacks.
Of course, nobody is. It's amazing that two Delaware quarterbacks had quarterbacks that went to the Super Bowl. That's
two Delaware quarterbacks that went to the NFL. Let's start.
You're not lying.
Better. Yeah, I'm stumped, man.
You both on Plunkett?
Yeah, because I'm not sure who else is just ringing a bell.
It was actually Rich Gannon.
Oh, he went to Delaware. I didn't know that.
Oh, wow.
Knows that. But Jason, you had a quarterback that was pretty good that came from Marist. Am I wrong, or do you know his name?
From Marist?
Yeah, good quarterback went to Marist. I forgot his name though. I can't. It's not coming to me right now. I'll ask you that next.
I went to Hofstra though. We didn't Hofstra. We had
went to Hofstra. Yeah. Not to
the only
guys like Wayne Corbett, Marcus Colston. He's probably our best player.
Okay. The only athlete I know that ever went to Marist was Rick Smits for the Indiana Pacers back in the day.
Wow.
Well, I'll tell you what. Don't look it up. I'll make sure that I'm right even in the question, and if it is right, you can try and answer it next week.
We didn't know that either. Low that truth. That was an interesting.
What's going on, Low the truth?
What's up, Low? How you doing?
Why don't we get to some of this news right now? Real quick, the schedule release is coming out next Wednesday, so we do our show on Thursday. We're gonna have a whole bunch to talk about. That should be a lot of fun. So we'll get that going on. Real quick, news just came down recently that Panthers released Jadeveon Clowney. He was due almost $14 million this year, so I see why they did it. He hasn't been as productive, guys, so I don't really have a problem with that at all. You got a problem with that one, Prime?
No, absolutely. You and I kind of talked about off the air a little bit. I was never a big fan of his to begin with. Is simply, this goes back to the hit versus the University of Michigan on Vincent Smith when he played for South Carolina. At that moment, it was at that moment that I realized I would never ever be able to like this guy. So I don't really think I gave him a fair chance when it came to his career in the NFL. He really didn't have the career that everybody thought he would. And like you say, $14 million, 32-year-old player, very unproductive. That sounds like somebody that the Saints might want to pick up. But yeah, I'm not surprised at all that they let him go. I'm actually surprised it took him this long.
Yeah, and Kenny, he won't get that money on the market that he was due this year. That's not going to happen. So he's going to have to go ahead and take a pay cut. And maybe it's for a team like the Chiefs or the Ravens who would say, hey, let's take a flyer on this guy. We're very
Commanders, Bills, somebody who needs a little.
Sure.
I can see the Lions picking him up. I actually, if they can get him on the cheap, I could see if they give like the $3-4 million, I could see the Lions easily throwing their hat in the ring.
That's definitely possible. All right, the big trade we got to talk about, though, let's get to it, is the George Pickens trade. So he goes to Dallas to the Cowboys from the Steelers, and the Steelers get a third-round pick next year, and then they swap a fifth and sixth rounder in 2027. The bottom line is that the Steelers couldn't wait to get George Pickens out of the building. He was not good for that team. He's got growing up to do, and I think that he will, and maybe he will do it in Dallas. He just was not the right fit in so many different ways. But this is a big move for a Cowboy team that needed to make a big move, and they didn't do it in the draft, where a lot of people thought they would get a wide receiver. So, Prime, before I tell you why I think this actually is a really good move, I want to hear what you think.
I think it's a good move, and I'm kind of it takes a lot to get on Mike Tomlin's bad side, but I think Mike Tomlin and his history of dealing with, some less than stellar personalities in Pittsburgh, I think they gave George Pickens all the rope that they possibly could. I think, and there comes a time when you have to, as a player, you have to kind of grow up. And I don't know what his issue is. I don't know his upbringing. I don't know his background like that. But I think him going to Dallas, hopefully will be like a rejuvenation type thing for him. I do see him, playing with CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott. For as much as people malign him, Dak Prescott's still a really good quarterback. So,
no doubt.
They
and he
finally
loves to throw the deep ball too. He loves to throw the deep ball, and that's what George Pickens does. He goes deep. I mean, let's not be crazy and say he's an unbelievable wide receiver, because he's not. He's great at 50-50 balls. He can't run the route tree. He's probably never even seen a route tree in his life, because all he does is go long. But with that being said, go ahead. I don't want to cut you off.
No. I was going to say you kind of put him in the same boat as like what the Lions had going on with Jameson Williams. They both came out at the same time. The stats, as far as the stats, Pickens has far better stats than Jameson Williams, and we'll probably talk about that on another show. But I think him going to Dallas, man. Dallas, I'm still a little bit worried about their offensive line. I'm not sure how you guys feel about that, but I do think just on paper, I think Dak Prescott could have statistically anyway, he could have a really good season throwing to those guys as long as George Pickens doesn't implode.
Yeah, look, this opens up the game right now for not just CeeDee Lamb, but for Jake Ferguson at tight end and their running backs. Who they get? Jaden Blue in the 5th round. They're hoping that he's going to be the guy. Kenny, I know that you know about him. And they get Javonte Williams from Denver. So they got their running backs. They want to open it up. What they're thinking is, based on George Pickens' style, a lot of teams now are going to play cover 2 shell, because CeeDee Lamb can also beat you really deep. And he can run every route. So you think that the middle is going to be open and they're going to be playing more base defenses looking at them. I get what they're doing. I understand. Let's see if it works on the field, Kenny. Do you think it could work out?
I think their O-line is actually pretty good. They got Tyler Smith. They just got Tyler Booker. They have Cooper Beebe, which is a good pick in the previous draft, I thought. They beefed up their O-line. They got Pickens. They got CeeDee. They got Devontae Turpin, who can also take the top off and just disappear. He's got special team prowess on. He can run the kicks back. He had a really cool punt return last year, if you remember seeing it, where he did that turn and the whole team just was confused.
I remember that.
Yeah, he's very fast. He's somebody to look at. Dak is going to Dak, so there's always that. But I kind of like Dallas, and you guys know that because I told you 3 months ago, I think they're going to win this division. Colin Cowherd today said they're coming in last place I think that's nuts.
Wow, interesting. And I like Colin Cowherd too, and I respect his opinion. But he also did say after game 1 of the Knicks Celtics that the Knicks would not win another game. And what happened last night? We come back from 20 again. Baby, what do you know?
That's the third time that you guys have come back like that. You guys came back like that against the Pistons.
Yep.
Pistons were up like 15 or something like that. And then the last 2 games again. Real quick, I know this is an NFL show for the most part. 75 missed 3-pointers over the last 2 games for the Boston Celtics.
Ridiculous.
That's the most in it. That's insane. At what point do you just say, you know what, we're going to start settling for 2s? I understand the math and the analytics, but holy Christ, 75 missed 3-pointers over a 2-game span. That's bad. That's
by the 3,
especially for an NBA team.
Live by the 3 and die by the 3. And right now they are dying by slow deaths in the second half of these games. And yeah, you're right about that. Truth 81. They're probably going to play Turpin more in the slot, and Turpin's a good player, as we were alluding to with the Dallas Cowboys just to get
very dangerous. Yeah, they also we're moving off Dallas immediately because nobody here likes Dallas, but Cooper Beebe was a great pickup last year. Tyler Smith is still there. Tyler Booker, Johnny Cornelius from Oregon, they also picked up this year for offensive tackle. So I think Dallas is looking pretty good right now. Better than the Niners, if you want my honest opinion.
Karthik making a good point. They got Luke Shoemaker, excuse me.
Player. They don't 2 tight ends.
Where did he go?
Try to use them both.
Where did he go? Right there, baby. Former Michigan Wolverine.
There it is. That's what's up right there. All right. I love it. All right. I can go all over the place right now. There's a lot of stuff I want to talk about. But, Kenny, I know this one is something you definitely want to get into. A fan suing the NFL for $100 million. Why? Okay. Well, here's what's happening. Let me read this. The plaintiff, referred to as John Doe in the filing, alleges in the complaint that the NFL's actions and the dissemination of slanderous statements have caused severe emotional distress and trauma. John Doe, alleges that reports of Sanders' performance in interviews contributed to a narrative that has unjustly harmed his reputation and potential as a player. This is absolutely freaking insane what I'm reading right now, and that came from the NBC News.
Well, Don King would say, "This is America. Welcome to America." And if you have the right lawyer and he knows what he's doing, be careful, man. And so I think he actually has a point. I also was very stressed out since I ranked Shedeur Sanders as the best quarterback in this draft. I stand by that. Wait 5 years. But that is a good lawsuit right there, man. It's like when you sued McDonald's over hot coffee. I mean, this is some easy stuff. Let's go.
It's an impossible win.
I think it's probably as silly as it gets. This might not even make it to all the necessary steps to even really be taken seriously, in my opinion. If that's the case, and why didn't Shedeur sue the NFL for all his stress that that's having to sit there for 5 rounds before he finally got picked, and then your reward is to get picked by the Cleveland Browns. So if anybody's got grounds for a lawsuit regarding Shedeur Sanders' pick, it's Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah. This is ridiculous. I mean,
well, he wouldn't get a job though if he did that.
This is just so damn laughable. Oh my God, you hurt my feelings so bad. This is the kind of world we live in right now. You hurt my freaking feelings, I can sue you for mental health.
People they got no wars to go to. They got no real problems. They got computer in their hand like Captain Kirk. Everything's good.
Yeah. And McNine is in here. What's up, McNine? And he's saying Sanders went to the Browns where quarterbacks go to die. Gosh.
What's up, Chad Schrader?
Maybe he'll change it around, man. Maybe he'll switch it up. He's got to win that starting job right now. Kenny, right now, I think he's 4th in the depth chart behind, Dylan Brooks and Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco. Let them play it out. And I want to see what happens because I think Sanders can do really well. I don't think that the Browns are going to do really well because I don't think they have enough around him. But I want to see what this kid can do. And at least he's going to be given a chance. And I feel like he'll be given a fair shot now that he is drafted and we'll get to camp. So I'm
Tough division. You know how I love Quinshon Judkins. So hopefully Judkins will be the game changer in Cleveland.
Yeah, I think your boy will be starting by mid-season. I don't think they drafted him. Dylan Gabriel's damn sure not going to start.
See, my thing is, did they draft Dylan Gabriel and say this guy has a chance to start for us some way midway through the season, and then Shedeur was still there, and they're like, well, now we can have a real competition and maybe get rid of one of them?
He might end up being their practice squad
Like, yeah,
quarterback.
career practice squad, career back.
Yeah, or something like that, because I can't realistically think of a world where Shedeur Sanders, and I again love my Oregon quarterbacks. I can't think of a world where Dillon Gabriel actually puts up a fight against Shedeur Sanders when it comes to who would you rather have starting at the quarterback position. Cleveland's not in a position right now, guys, to make a lot of mistakes. Everything they do right now, they need to get it right. They've spent a lot of money on Myles Garrett. You're still owe Deshaun Watson a buttload of money. You're making Kevin Stefanski look really bad. But if anybody can make this work somehow, you do have a lot of quarterbacks to choose from. But I think Shedeur will be starting by mid-season. Not necessarily because of anything he's doing. It's probably because the fans are going to start screaming.
Oh, I got my Shedeur jersey already.
Oh, yeah, you got no way. You're rocking it yet. Yeah, maybe you. I don't know. See, their jerseys are so freaking ugly. I don't know if I can get it.
They got the ugliest helmet and jersey in the league.
You know what? The best uniforms they put out were the all white ones. That was the best uniform they put out, and I think they wore that maybe twice in the past couple of years.
I'd rather get an Ohio State Judkins jersey way before that happens.
Never. My brother-in-law, I think I told this story. My brother-in-law one time wore Ohio State flip-flops in my house. And I was almost, I told my wife about it, and I almost was tempted to have him leave those outside. It was raining that day, I think. I almost had him leave them on the porch. We don't do Ohio State anything.
On the porch.
Get your toes chopped off and stuff like that, man. You can't we're in flip-flops. Yeah. Yo, so I was watching when I got home from work today, NFL Live. And they had Kyle Van Noy on, who's been on a whole bunch of teams. He's won a Super Bowl, 2 Super Bowls actually with the Patriots. But
Former
the Chargers, Dolphins, Lions he started out with in 2014, I believe it was. And he rated his top 5 toughest quarterbacks.
I saw that.
Now,
we were watching at the same time.
I love that you saw it, so you know where I'm going. It went Brady, Mahomes, Joe Burrow, a young Aaron Rodgers, and then Josh Allen. My question is, you're a Baltimore Raven. Where the fuck is Lamar Jackson? Why
did you see? He had him at the bottom on his honorable mention. He had right down below. He had Lamar Jackson, and then like to the far right, he had Matthew Stafford. Which, if you talk to a lot of defensive backs in the league over the last 10 years, they'll tell you that Matthew Stafford is probably one of the toughest quarterbacks to play against. But I saw that and I kind of cracked up that he didn't have Lamar Jackson in his top 5.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
Do you think that he just goofed that up? Because he did say, he said something like, nah, I'm not going to give him that yet, or something like that.
He was kind of tongue-in-cheek with that. I
guess he was. Yeah. Damn, man, I was surprised. He's going to have to answer for that one, bro. I'm telling you.
I mean, but guys, what makes Lamar Jackson tough to play against? Is it the threat of the run, or is it his overall quarterback ability? I think the fact that he's a threat to run makes him what he is. I would take my chances keeping Lamar in the pocket. Beat me from the pocket.
Yeah,
we have yet to see that in big games.
I agree, and he's capable of doing it. Let's not get it twisted. He can do it, but he's better, obviously, when he is on the move, when plays do break down, and when he's running the ball all over the place. That's what separates him from really everybody else. Now, Mahomes is in his own category, but I kind of believe that Lamar's in his own category as well. However, Josh Allen is also a great runner of the football, but nothing near the athleticism of Lamar Jackson.
You guys are talking about their running, which is a part of it, but what I really look at is their improvisation, right? Even they're running, but they're also throwing sometimes, and they're faking, and they got vision. For a quarterback to have vision as a running back and be able to toss that ball out before you cross the line of scrimmage, all of that is what I love.
The best of that guy is Mahomes. Mahomes is the best at that in the league as far as improv and making something happen out of nothing. Mahomes is just genius. I mean, you've seen him throw the ball behind his back and for a completed pass. He's done it lefty. I mean, what more do you want from the guy? He's just unbelievable.
Well, I don't know if you guys know this. You may already know because I may have already said it. But the thing about him is he has a photographic memory. And that's like genius level intelligence, man.
Who's that, Kyle Van Noy?
No, Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, Pat, does he really? He's got a photograph, like legit?
Legit, 100%.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I wish I had one of those.
You know who else does? One of the guys that came out in the draft, Seth Hennigan, quarterback.
So like he remembers everybody's birthday and shit like that.
He remembers if he looked at a piece of paper and you took it away in 5 seconds, my man can remember it. That's what
so cool.
I think the technical term for that is called eidetic. I think it's eidetic memory. That's like the psychological term.
Oh man, that's true mutant superpowers, man. That's proof that it exists. I love it. That's freaking great. I love it. What does Under the Helmet got to say here real quick as we move along with our talks over here? The use of a lot of motion in the backfield and the speed on Ravens offense is scary. You don't know who the ball is going to. It can go to Zay Flowers. Lamar can take it. Bateman. I mean, Derrick Henry obviously is there. They're adding DeAndre Hopkins to the team now.
That's crazy.
I mean, and their defense. Look, we're going to talk about, I don't want to go over it yet, but the Baltimore Ravens are a stacked team. I'm going to talk about them in a little bit, actually, because they're looking really, really good right now.
They're the Philadelphia Eagles of the AFC.
They're a hungry team. They are just a real hungry team. There's no
real quick, Jason, right now, real quick, gun to your head. In the next 2 years, do the Ravens win a Super Bowl?
Yes.
What about you, Kenny?
I think you have to in the next 2 years. You have to.
So if they don't, are we looking at a new coach? And I know that's unthinkable right now. Are we looking at a new coach potentially? Does John Harbaugh ever get on the hot seat? And with the team that they have, like Jason alluded to, as stacked as they are, at what point does John Harbaugh, who nobody ever considers for a hot seat, does he start getting a little warm over the next year or two, kind of like your boy Shanahan, if the Ravens with all this talent don't produce?
Prime. They won that Super Bowl against the 49ers a long time ago. That was in 2013. That was in 2013. It is 2025, and they have not won a damn thing, and they have not been back to the Super Bowls yet. So if you can talk about Mike Tomlin being fired, you bet your ass you can talk about John Harbaugh being fired.
They can definitely be fired, but if I'm an owner, I don't move on from Tomlin. I don't move on from Kyle. I don't move on from the Harbaughs. I don't move on from Reed. I don't move on from Pete Carroll. I mean, there's only so many really good coaches. Few can be a head coach, and I just believe that I'd rather have the guy that I know is a good head coach. Winning Super Bowls is hard, so I can't judge the guy solely on that. But there is a point where you got to win a Super Bowl, or there may be some questions.
Yeah, man.
It was kind of like Rick Carlisle back in the days with the Pistons. He was, getting them to the Eastern Conference Finals. I think they went to 4 or 5 in a row, but he couldn't get it done. So they brought in Larry Brown, and they ended up winning, a championship. So there has to be, and I agree 100%. There's not a lot of good coaches out there, but at some point, you have to you've changed your roster. How many times has the Ravens roster changed over the last 12 years? The Niners over the last 4 or 5 years? Sooner or later, you got to get it done. And I think Tomlin and Harbaugh, I think that division in the next 2-3 years, as far as coaches, could look pretty different. What's up, Alexander George? How you doing?
How you doing? I love it. How you doing? Forget about it. Yep, we got Alex in the house. And there's still, we still got a whole bunch of news to get to. I don't know if we're going to go ahead and get to everything. I want to talk about the Justin Tucker thing with you guys for a minute, if you don't mind. I mean, let's just go to this. We're talking about the Ravens anyway. So Justin Tucker, he was released by the Ravens, just recently, as we know, amid allegations of improper conduct during a massage. Now, this is from NBC News. Tucker, 35, this is in quotes, who has been with the team since 2012, was accused in January of inappropriate behavior during massage therapy sessions by 6 women who spoke to the Baltimore Banner. The news outlet reported allegations of more women the next month. Tucker, who is one of the most accurate kickers in NFL history, has denied any wrongdoing and has not been charged with any crime. Now, we're not going to sit here and investigate this fucking thing, but where there's smoke, there's fire. And if 6 women have said it, something has got to have gone wrong. I think we learned our lesson. Maybe not lesson, but we learned from Deshaun Watson when 24, 26 women have come out. So far, it's only 6, and
actually, there's like 16. There's 16 total.
I hear there's more that can come out against Justin Tucker.
But it's my thing. I love the Baltimore Ravens said how it hurt them to have to let him go. You almost, in this day and age, you can't take that kind of public relations hit. The writing was on the wall when they drafted Tyler Luke in the 5th or 6th round or whatever. When you're drafting a kicker and you got one of the greatest of all time, the writing was on the wall. So I'm gonna miss Justin Tucker. I fucking hate his guts because he hit that heart-wrenching 64-yard kick or whatever it was against the Lions.
I think it was, right?
Yeah, changed the trajectory of that season a couple years ago for the Lions. 4 years ago now. But yeah, like you say, Jay, where there's smoke, there's fire. Whether he did or didn't, at this point, we all know that we live in a world where perception is everything. So even if, and Baltimore's got a really loyal fan base, they got probably, you get, a lot of these guys got daughters and sisters and mothers and aunts and things like that, man. You kind of, you almost have to do this. Now, if later on it's found out that he is totally innocent, you kind of react and go from there. But right now, I think Baltimore had no choice, Kenny, but to cut him.
I agree.
Kenny, the karma may be coming, right, Kenny?
Trying to add fans here, not lose fans. And I know the NFL is very interested in getting a lot more women to watch football. There's a flag football league for women. There's football leagues for women all over the place. And I know a lot of girls who love football. So don't appreciate that.
Something was on his mind because he missed 8 field goals last year. That was like his worst season ever. So something was on his mind. He wasn't right.
Hey, maybe it's karma coming to get you, because look what happened to Deshaun Watson. He was one of the best quarterbacks in the league, no problem, hands down. And then all of a sudden, he just stopped being that guy.
He went from almost MVP to see you later.
He was unbelievable.
That's great.
What is Alexander saying? Who would be the best field goal kicker now that Justin Tucker is gone? The best kicker in the league? That's a good question. Who's pretty automatic out there?
Automatic. The guy from Pittsburgh.
He gets enough practice. That's all they do is kick field goals. That guy, he's going to be setting records for most field goal attempts by the time.
Maybe Harrison Butker.
Matt Gay. Well.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
Harrison Butker's pretty good. I'd probably take him.
Yeah.
That's interesting. All right. Yeah, KC kicker. Even Steve-O agrees right there. Yep.
Steve-O Supremo, how you doing?
I can't remember the guy's name now in Pittsburgh. Chad may not be here anymore. He's a Steelers fan. But the guy from Pittsburgh I picked up mid-season for my fantasy team. The guy was money.
Who? What are you talking about?
The guy in Pittsburgh, the kicker for Pittsburgh. Remember his name?
Boswell.
Yeah.
Jake Bates from the Lions is pretty. The guy they picked up from USFL, he's pretty good. Even though Dan Campbell doesn't use him that much. But when he does, he's usually peaking.
He always goes on 4th down.
Just like Jameson Williams, you got to start using that guy more, man.
Hey, real quick, can I ask one question?
Yeah, man.
Did anybody realize that Robert Woods is still in the NFL?
I did know, yeah.
I mean, I'm going through some stuff today, and I'm like, Robert Woods is still in the NFL.
He's still around. Yeah, he's playing for the Steelers.
Yeah, he had 2 good seasons, 12 and 1,300 yards back to back. But before and after, he's been. You talk about a guy that's stealing money, so to speak, but he's a good blocker for a receiver, and I think he's a good locker room presence. But if you're looking for something statistically significant from Robert Woods, I think you're going to be very disappointed. But yeah, it just kind of blew my mind. I'm like, damn, I can't believe he's still in the league.
Hard to keep a good man down.
Yeah, I guess
Steelers wide receiver room right now is DK Metcalf, Robert Woods, Calvin Austin, and then they got. I wrote down a couple of names. Oh no, I didn't. I think they got Ben Skowronek and Scotty Miller.
Remember, I just texted that you know who Aaron Rodgers wants over there as usual. Aaron Lazard.
Lazard.
That's the only guy he's going to be thrown to all year.
Under the Helmet thinks that Dallas or Seattle would be better than the Niners. Well, they both were last year, probably. Maybe not Dallas, though. I don't know. They were probably about the same amount of shit that there was on the freaking pop. But the 49ers, Christian McCaffrey is practicing, and he says he's freaking ready to go. So watch out, man.
If he's
49ers not dead yet.
If he's 2023 CMC, we're fine. We're fine.
Dude, we're not dead yet, man. We're not dead. But what are the Steelers doing? I mean, they are depleting their offense. They have not much in the name of running backs. They drafted that kid, Caleb Johnson, I believe, and they got Jalen Warren. But nothing impressive, nothing to hang your hat on. I don't know what the hell's going on with the Steelers, man. And then the whole Aaron Rodgers question, which we're not going to get into and spend a whole bunch of time on. But I can't believe they didn't draft a quarterback. Except for the kid from Ohio State, Howard, they drafted.
You know what? And the funny thing is that Will Howard, he was moving up a lot of people's draft boards. I wouldn't be surprised if they give him a sniff. If things start to go south early for the Steelers, you can't go through the entire season with Mason Rudolph as your starting quarterback. If you're serious about winning, and ownership of the Steelers, we're talking about, Aaron Rodgers still does want to come to us. So, and we talked about it last week, and I asked a question: how long do you wait? You got OTAs coming up. You got the meat of all your off-season stuff coming up, rookies and everything coming in. We know Aaron Rodgers wants to avoid all that if he possibly can, but at what point, man, do you just say, you know what, Aaron, thanks, but no thanks, we're going to move on? Because you got to start at some point either putting all the focus on Mason Rudolph or start developing Will Howard or something, because it's not looking – this might be the year where Tomlin doesn't make the playoffs.
This might be the year. Again, Mason Rudolph being your guy, he's a decent quarterback. He's definitely not starting material. So, and again, Aaron Rodgers is not going to make me go, oh my God, the Steelers are going to make the playoffs now and they're going to win a bunch of games and they're going to compete for the AFC Championship. No, that's not going to happen either. Rodgers hasn't had a good season. Look, he was decent last year in the second half of the season, but he really hasn't had a good one since around 2021.
Well, remember why I thought he kind of bumped it up in the second half? Because him and Davante Adams have a running record of how many touchdowns they have together. Him throwing to Davante, they have a record.
Yeah, they want to keep it going.
They were padding it, that's all.
That's it. They want to keep it going, and they kept that going, so they'll be in the record books, and that's all wonderful. But we all know that Aaron Rodgers still has only won one fucking Super Bowl in his life, only been to one, and a player of that stature should have been to a lot more. I'm going to stop the Aaron Rodgers talk right now. Go to another quarterback, Matthew Stafford, who apparently could have gotten more money from the Giants or the Raiders, but chose to stay with the Rams. And apparently the Rams wanted him to stay as well. Otherwise, that never would have worked out, and Stafford would be with another team right now. So, Prime, are you liking Stafford sticking around and them being legit contenders possibly this year with how young and good that defense has shown to be?
Man,
and you got Puka Nacua and now Davante Adams and Kyren Williams, and Stafford can still sling it.
Yep, and they got your boy Verse. You called it for Defensive Rookie of the Year. The boy can play some football. Matthew Stafford is, I think that they said it was about $100 million or so. I think he probably thought about it, and then 5 seconds later was like, he looked at the offensive line. Matthew Stafford is not a mobile quarterback by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
You put him behind those turnstiles that the New York Giants call an offensive line, and it would probably shorten his career. He wouldn't have made it through the entire season upright.
Good point.
So.
Good point.
Staying in LA, his wife likes it out there, his kids like it out there. Sean McVay, I think Sean McVay had a plan to make like one last hurrah, one big final push with Matthew Stafford as their quarterback. So they go out and get Davante Adams. Matthew Stafford, oh my God, come on. I mean, it's an embarrassment of riches almost with those guys on offense. And then, like you say, Matthew Stafford can still throw the ball as well as anybody in the league.
No doubt. And, that close against Philly last year. I can't wait to see what they can do this year as being an objective person, because, again, I'm a 49er fan, and I'm praying that we come back and do something. That division is going to be very interesting. We want to start talking about this stuff.
Look what they did against Buffalo. That Buffalo game. Come on, man. That was,
that's when the Rams defense did not show up. The Rams defense did not show up back then.
But it was a Matthew Stafford showcase for the people that thought that he might be kind of washed up and might be done. But yeah, man, they going to the Giants would have been the beginning of the end for him. So, I picked the Rams to win that division. I'm going to stick to that until I see them start off 0-8, which probably won't happen.
What do you think about the Bears? So apparently they inquired about Kenneth Walker III from the Seahawks. They only got DeAndre Swift, who's a decent back. But they, maybe should have made another move. And a lot of people thought that maybe they were going to be the ones getting Ashton Genty. Of course, that didn't happen. They drafted Colston Loveland. So they got a lot of pretty good offensive weapons, Kenny. I think Chicago could be a pretty decent team.
I think that you could stick with Swift and Roschon Smith? Who's the other?
Roschon Johnson.
Roschon Johnson.
Look, those guys not super amazing, but now you have a pretty nice O-line over there and some options to pass the ball in every direction. And so that opens the run game up. The run game up opens the passing game. You know how it works. And then the D there was never that bad. So
I'm telling you, I said it before, and I'll stand on that hill even as a Lions fan. Chicago scares the shit out of me. When you look at them on paper, just look at their receivers and tight ends. And what's the weakness of the Detroit Lions? Their secondary. And I just see a Dunze and Moore and Loveland and Cole Kmet And like you say, they went out and beefed up that. I'm like laughing and giddy, like almost like I'm a Bears fan. They scare me. If there's any team that's going to jump up for like most improved and all that sort of thing, whatever you want to call it, it's going to be the Chicago Bears, man. Watch out for the Bears. And if they don't, I'll be mildly disappointed, even though I'm not a fan. But I'm expecting big things from the Bears.
Yeah, and the Bears defense should definitely improve as well this year, as Alexander George is bringing it up. I mean, I would say they're probably maybe a little bit better than middle of the pack. So if they can go ahead and score 24, 25 points a game, they're going to be in every single football game they play because the defense will do that. And, that could be asking a lot, but they got the players. Caleb Williams has shown that he doesn't turn the ball over. That's important. He had 20 touchdowns and only 6 interceptions last year, and he played the whole damn year. So
and Ben Johnson, let's not forget that X factor. He's no Liam Cohen, but
inside joke on the show. I love it.
Yeah, he's but then I'm telling you, man, the Bears at worst they should be second in that division because I'm not expecting.
Because you see Minnesota, JJ McCarthy, how is that going to work out? Because other than that, Minnesota's got a really good damn team. Like, I'm thinking if McCarthy is anywhere near as good as they say and hope he's going to be, Minnesota's going to be a tough-ass team to get knocked out next year. And so are your Lions. That division is tough. There's Green Bay, too. The Lions going to get back all these guys that were hurt. Aiden Hutchinson, hopefully he'll come back sooner than later. But, man, that's going to be one of the tougher divisions in football. Black and blue all over again, bro.
Hey, let me ask you real quick. Vegas has the over-under 10.5 for Lions wins. You taking the over?
Way over, no doubt.
I am.
13 wins. I'm going 13 wins for the Lions right now. It's not official, but yes, I'll take the over, no problem.
Hey, real quick to answer Alexander George's question. According to the Bleacher Report, the latest, this is a brand new article that they just did. After the draft, they ranked the new defenses into 2025 expected, what they think. They have the Bears at 16, so you're right in the middle now.
What's up, Papa J? How you doing?
Papa J in the house. What's up? We're saying I'm late, but if y'all haven't mentioned Denver, I think they're going to be a powerhouse. They could be. They improved the passing game a little bit with Evan Ingram. We were talking about them just a little bit ago, actually, where Javonte Williams went over to Dallas over there.
Go
but Denver, could it be a powerhouse? I don't know if I'm ready to use that word yet, but I see them improving. It'll be better than what happened to them last year. They should be a playoff team again. But what if the Chargers take a jump? See, like I'd be worried if I were about the Chargers taking a big jump this year and winning maybe 12 games, maybe even winning that division possibly over the Chiefs.
Could they have 3 teams out of that division in the playoffs?
They can. Why not?
And the Denver, getting to Papa J real quick. Denver had me excited that first drive of their playoff game last season.
Oh yeah, they went right down on Buffalo.
I'm like, oh, here we go. And then Denver things kind of happened and bottom kind of fell off from there. But yeah, Papa J, I'm a Bo Nix guy, man. So I'll secretly be with you rooting for the Broncos.
I mean, I think their defense will be one of the top defenses in the league. That's for sure.
Yeah. Their defense is stout, and again, they drafted Barron with their first pick, right? The cornerback. So they're just toughening up an already toughened Patch Surtain secondary, man. That's pretty awesome, man. Papa J. Bo Nix is underrated.
Absolutely.
Sean Payton saw something in the kid, man, and you know what? Just like Jaden Daniels, they went to the playoffs in their first year, 10-7, I think they were, right?
That's a guy I didn't love in the beginning of the year, and if you remember, I bet against the Denver Broncos for the first 3 games of the year last year, and that bit me in the ass. So.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. Denver. You know what? They're not on my list. I'll tell you right away. They're not on my list of teams that I'm looking at rookie players and saying, wow, here we go. This is going to put them over the edge. One team that I've already mentioned and we talked about is the Baltimore Ravens. They got Malachi Starks and Mike Green. Those are 2 first-round guys. They got their new kicker now, Tyler Loop, obviously. This team is so freaking stacked. We talked about Lamar Jackson and what he can do, how impossible he is to game plan for. It's just sick. But their defense, man, I talked about Kyle Van Noy before. Then you got Broderick Washington on the line along with Madubuike. Then there's Oweh and Nate Wiggins and obviously Kyle Hamilton. And I should be looking at that thing right now. Marlon Humphrey. I should have their depth chart up at this moment. But on offense, we talked about some of their players too. They need to get it together. That's why John Harbaugh is definitely on the hot seat, to go back to what you were talking about. This team has to get to the Super Bowl this year. It is not good enough for anything else. They actually must make the Super Bowl this year, and they got two guys that can help them beefing up that defense, again, with Malachi Starks and Mike Green. So, Kenny, I think Baltimore is Mr. Prime ready to go. Prime time ready this season.
Absolutely. I think they absolutely knocked the ball out of the park when it comes to their draft this year, and they picked late in the draft, which is really hard to nail a draft. Yeah. You're picking late in it, but they outdrafted a lot of teams that picked before them, and it's really impressive. So
I think a lot of it too, as we all know that Baltimore keeps a really good, outside of John Harbaugh, they keep a really good peripheral of coaches. They're defensive coaches. A couple of them have been head coaches, been to college, been back, this, that, and the other. Baltimore, this is the ultimate put up or shut up year. If you talk about a team over the last maybe 4 or 5 years where it's really time to put up or shut up, it's Baltimore right now. And I know we'll get into like our impact rookies here shortly, but yeah, I'm a big Malachi Starks fan. I'm expecting big things from him.
Yeah, man, no doubt, man. So am I. And that's why they drafted him there, to be next to Kyle Hamilton, because they want Kyle Hamilton to do different things, come down in the box, become an extra linebacker, blitz, do all sorts of stuff, be a Troy Polamalu. That's exactly what they want out of him. But the odd thing is that their defense seems to play better when he's in his normal spot at safety, Kenny. But either way, they're stacked, these guys, and they are ready to go. So that's one team that I think that the rookies will help to impact them. And I've been looking, guys, at teams that are right there or already there. I'm not looking at teams like really Carolina, for example, because I don't think that they're going to be a playoff team. I'm not looking at New Orleans. I'm looking at teams, like how I just mentioned, maybe even the Patriots, who got Will Campbell, Travion Henderson. They could be a potential wild card team because they started playing better. They got their quarterback. They got a new defensive mindset. Maybe the Patriots are one of those teams, Kenny.
Very possible. One of the first shows we did, we asked each other what GMs knew, what team you would take over when they were picking new coaches, and I was like, give me the Patriots. I think I have high hopes for the Patriots this year. They finally got the coach that they wanted in there, and he's a smart guy. He's very good. He is a player's coach. I think the players on his team love Mike Vrabel, and they had a great offseason. They spent a ton of money. They had a good draft, and they have a very good quarterback who's ready to go.
Yeah, man, there you go. That's very well said right there. Well, I gave a couple of my teams already. Prime, why don't you give one of yours? We're talking about rookies that will have biggest impact on their teams, and you can play with that however which way you want it. I'm going again with teams that are close or there already, that these guys may push them over the edge.
If you're looking at the offensive side of the ball, I think the most obvious, and he's probably everybody's preseason pick, and he'll probably go high in the fantasy draft too, is Ashton Jeanty. I'm not expecting big things from the Raiders, but if you're talking about players that can have an impact on their team, I think one of the Raiders' biggest problems were late in the games where they really couldn't run the ball that effectively. They didn't have great quarterback play. So now if you get a guy like Jeanty that you can give the ball to and maybe, get some positive things going from him late in the game, that might be able to salvage them, maybe a couple of additional wins. They're not going to win the division by any stretch of the imagination. But I think if you're talking about impact, especially statistically, I think Ashton Jeanty, he's my early pick for Offensive Rookie of the Year. I also like, I hate I'm saying this, but if Jordan Love, who I know Jason loves so much, Matthew Golden has an opportunity to do some big things for the Green Bay Packers, simply because you're playing against teams in that division, especially when you play the Lions, that the secondary isn't that strong. And Matthew Golden, you throw him in the slot, he could end up being the best receiver on the Packers when it's all said and done. I do like the Travion Henderson, but I'm going to go out. I'm going to give a dark horse here. I'm going to say one of the rookie offensively outside of Cam Ward at quarterback that's going to have an impact on their team is Jackson Dart. I think Jackson Dart somehow, some way ends up starting by the end of the season. I say impact not to say that he's going to win them a bunch of games. I just think for the morale and for the direction of that team, I could see Jackson Dart maybe week 9, week 10 coming in, maybe the last half of the season when the New York Giants finally get tired of Russell Wilson, and they probably will. Brian Daboll and Russell Wilson, I don't think that's a good mix. I don't see Jameis Winston being the answer, but I kind of, I was kind of off on that pick just because of what they gave up for him. But I can see, maybe Jackson Dart, towards the end of the season. I know it's a long shot and I'm going to get killed for it, but yeah, him, and then one more I got is Omarion
let me say
Hampton.
real quick, Prime, you don't want him playing this year. That means the Giants really suck. Or maybe you do want him playing this year and they suck real bad, so they get another high draft.
And we get Arch Manning next year or something like that. But yeah. But my last one for offense, like you say, we're not going to go with all the. There's a lot of guys that should make impacts on their team simply because their teams are so bad. Like you talk about Ted McMillan, like that. But Travis Hunter's probably the obvious. And real quick on a side note for that, could Travis Hunter be the first ever NFL player to win offensive and defensive rookie of the year?
That would be awesome.
I mean, you know what? In a perfect world, yes, he's capable of doing it, but the problem is that he's not going to play enough on both sides of the ball. It looks like, and this is bothering me, man, that Jacksonville went up that high to get a receiver, because that's what they're doing. They're playing him at receiver way more than they're letting him play at cornerback, is what I'm hearing. And that is bad news, and that's a bad move by Jacksonville. Travis Hunter's amazing. The Heisman Trophy winner, fantastic player. He's going to be great in this league. There's no doubt about it. But at a wide receiver position, you're not going to change the entire team. At least at a cornerback position, you can change the entire defense by shutting down one side of the field, taking away a team's best offensive weapon week in and week out. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me, fellas. I'm sorry.
That's why they're Jacksonville. And my last offensive guy, I think they're going to run him into the ground, is Omarion Hampton for the Chargers.
Oh, yeah.
I think Jim Harbaugh.
350 carries. Easy.
Oh, my God. He might. Yeah,
they got three running backs there, though. They got three guys.
That's true. They got Najee also. Yeah.
But I think Najee now, I think, takes a backseat. I think Omarion Hampton beats him out in training camp. And I think at the beginning of the season, Omarion Hampton will be the starting running back for the Chargers to give, Justin Herbert a little bit of relief. But, yeah, those are my offensive guys. Honorable mention, Emeka Egbuka, Tyler Shuff. I think there's a lot of people that are high on him, especially with Derek Carr, his kind of murky as far as what his shoulder's going to do. So there's some really good rookies out there, man, on both sides of the ball. But those are my offensive guys.
Yeah, some teams drafted really well, drafted a need, and that need, again, not just one player wins a team, but if you can put that jigsaw puzzle piece together and say, bam, we got our defensive end. Bam, we got our safety. That's all we needed. Now we're ready to go. We have that confidence. Let's get it on the field. Kenny, give me one of yours.
Okay, well, I'm going to just real quick, the people that I love is Quinshon Judkins for the Cleveland Browns. I think that's going to be a big-time impact player this year. Another guy, R.J. Harvey for Denver, another big-time running back that's going to be it. And then I'll go with Prime as well, a team that I really like to make a big step this year, the Chargers as well, with Omarion Hampton at running back, Kamani Vidal at running back. They got Najee Harris at running back, who did have 1,000 yards. I don't know if it was recently. I think it was this last year. But he definitely has been running the ball off for the last few years. He's definitely a solid running back. I think they go run by committee and do a great job there. But also they have a guy, Trey Harris, on the Chargers now. So someone for Herbert to throw to, it's going to be a problem. And their defense is legit, as you know. So the Chargers are a team to look out for sure.
Harbaugh in his second year, man. Watch out, man. No doubt. Yeah, I wrote the Chargers down at 1. I think the Bears are another. We talked about them already, getting Colston Loveland and Luther Burden there in the second round. 2 guys that could be starters on their offense right away because Keenan Allen is out and he is still looking for a home, man.
Let me ask you guys real quick. What do you think? What do you guys think about the Jets this year when you got nothing? Because we got Breece Hall, we got Garrett Wilson, we got Aaron Glenn there now. You got yourself a nice right tackle. You got yourself a nice left tackle. You got Justin Fields out there who was good enough for the Steelers when he was playing. They just...
Prime, I think the 2 people you look at for the Jets this year are Justin Fields and Aaron Glenn. I want to see what changes in that organization. What is going to be done to make the Jets not be the freaking Jets again? the JETS, that just end the season. All right, that's what it stands for the New York Jets, year in and year out. I want to see what Aaron Glenn's going to do, and can Justin Fields legitimately be the starting quarterback for an NFL team? I believe he can. How good can he be? I'm not sure. But there you go. That's my answer.
Well, they call him Bustin' Fails on the circuits. So just, we'll see. Hopefully he doesn't fail anymore.
You know what?
He's better than that.
You know what, Jay? You took the word. I was going to, you talk about X factors and people most of the time talk about players. But I was going to say Aaron Glenn, to me, is going to be probably the most important New York Jet of all. I know he's trying to model the team after, kind of similar to what Ben Johnson's doing in Chicago, trying to
you can tell
model them after what they had going in Detroit, and I get it. Some people are better coordinators. We've talked about it on this show. Some people are just better coordinators than head coaches. I'll give Aaron Glenn the benefit of the doubt, but I promise you this: if the Jets start off 2-5, 2-6, or something disastrous like that, if he gets 2 years, I'll be shocked. I'll be shocked. And I'm not a big Justin Fields fan. I kind of got to wait and see with that one. But I think all eyes are going to be on Aaron Glenn this year, how he handles the New York media, how he handles being a head coach, how he handles making those late game decisions, how he handles not having Dan Campbell to be there as that soothing voice, not having Ben Johnson's offense to bail out his defense that played horrible in spells over this last season. So there's a lot of X factors for Aaron Glenn and the just end the season. I love that, by the way.
I know it sounds
just end the season, New York Jets.
I know it sounds petty and small, but working on not getting penalties, especially with your defensive guys, because we know what defensive penalties do. Every single one of them, with the exception of offside and running into the kicker, is an automatic first down. So you got to be careful. And again, you don't want to be jumping offside and giving an extra 5 yards. It's very important.
Are we still talking about teams and rookies on those teams that might make?
We're still on it.
Absolutely.
How about the St. Louis Cardinals and the Seahawks?
Absolutely. I got them both, Kenny. I got them both. I'm with you.
I mean, the Cardinals only had like 5 or 7 picks. They got a bunch of studs, in my opinion. They got Gannon over there now, taking care of the defense. And I feel like the West is wide open, even though I know most people think it's in the bag for the Rams. I think it's wide open. I think any of those 4 teams could win the NFC West this year.
It's possible.
Wow.
Look, Cardinals got Walter Nolan and Will Johnson. Will Johnson, everybody said should have been a first-round pick. They get him in the 2nd round.
Why?
And Josh Sweat they picked up in the offseason. Kyler Murray, can you do it? Can you play consistently all year? Because he's been a first half of the season guy. And then everything falls off in the second half.
It's his second year with MHJ. Let's hope. Well, not let's hope, because I'm a Niner fan, but hope for the
right. I don't hope.
Yeah, I think when we do our show, as far as guys, like our put up or shut up show for guys that are already in the league, I think MHJ might be right there at the top. But, Steve-O Supremo saying that the Jets defense will stink. There's Kenny and his Liam Cohen. I like on defense. I think some of the defensive guys that'll make an impact. I think your Mikael Williams from the Niners. I think he almost is in a position where he has to make an impact. I think Abdul Carter though. It's kind of an obvious choice. I like Abdul Carter. I like Maxwell Hairston from the Buffalo Bills. I like that. Depending on what Jacksonville does, Travis Hunter could be impactful on that defense. But I think one of the sleepers is going to be Kenneth Grant for the Miami Dolphins.
Oh, you like that one, huh?
I do.
I was just so big on that.
It's funny because Dave Niners here now, and that's him and that was our favorite defensive tackle in this entire.
Yeah, I think Jahad Campbell. I know Jahdae Barron and Campbell. I know Jason was really high on those guys, but there's one guy I think that really has an opportunity to make a really, really huge impact on his team, and that's Derek Harmon for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm pulling for the guy simply because of what happened on draft night, and you're playing on the same defensive line with Mr. Watt. I think that guy is going to play with a chip on his shoulder. He's going to have the memory of his mom the entire season. I am rooting hard for Derek Harmon. So not necessarily defensive player of the year. I'm going to probably say that'll probably be Abdul Carter. But if I'm pulling for a guy, just based off sentiment, I'm going with Derek Harmon.
No doubt, man. Yeah, I mean, how do you not root for somebody like that at this point, right? Absolutely.
Hey, Bobo.
Well, the Truth 81, CJ West. Yeah, let's hope he makes an impact, man. You kidding me? Excuse me, guys. I wanted to mention maybe just a couple more because, Kenny, you took Cardinals and Seahawks. I had them both on there. The Seahawks with Ray Zabel and Nick Amenwari, Elijah Arroyo at tight end, and you may be seeing Jalen Milroe. Speaking
unbelievable.
I don't know if Sam Darnold's going to make the whole year. Jalen Milroe may step in if they're like 5-7 and need to make a playoff push, and Sam Darnold ain't doing it. Hi, Milroe. How you doing? Take the ball, run as fast as you can, and fucking throw the ball as far as you can. Go out there and play some football, baby. You never know.
Shedeur, Cam Ward, and Jalen Milroe were my top 3 quarterbacks coming out in this draft. Jackson Dart was 4, and so I have high hopes for Milroe as well.
Is Cam Ward like the least talked about number 1 pick of all time? Like nobody gives a shit. It's amazing.
Nobody cares.
I would, yeah, and that's because he plays for Tennessee. Alex, thanks for checking in. And see, you got to go. Thanks for checking in with us.
Appreciate
see you next week. But yeah, Cam Ward. Plus, he's not a big personality. He's not your typical number 1 pick in any way, shape, or form. Especially when you compare him to some of the guys we've seen over the last decade or so. But I think quietly, he has the skill set to improve that team. The key with him is going to be decision making and coaching. And if they can, I think Tennessee fans, if they can see him consistently progress throughout the course of the season, they'll be satisfied. And I'm not saying that he's going to be Rookie of the Year, or even maybe in the top 3 or 4, but I think under the radar, he could be a serviceable quarterback. He can be better than what they have with Tannehill. I'm sure he's already better than Will Levis in most people's mind. A guy that puts mayonnaise in his coffee, I don't trust him.
Oh, God.
If you do drink coffee, black with 2 sugars, every now and then my wife, shout out to my wife, Yana, she'll put in like some little macchiato here and there. But me, if I do drink coffee, it's black with 2 sugars, and I'm absolutely, mayonnaise is nowhere near on my ingredients that I put in the coffee. So you can't trust a guy like that. But yeah, Cam Ward, you're right, man. He might be the most under the radar number 1 pick we've seen in a long time.
Interesting stuff right there. We'll see. Yeah, I like a couple other teams real quick. We'll get them out the way. I think the Bucks sneaky had 2 really good first picks in Emeka Egbuka because we don't know what's going to go on with Godwin. So you need somebody else beside Mike Evans and Benjamin Morrison, the cornerback out of Notre Dame. I think that was a really good pick.
I loved it.
Another guy who, like Will Johnson, I mean, he was hurt the year before. So, these guys, the people who fell, those guys who fell and the teams who got them later, that's going to be fun.
Steve-O Supremo, I got to try it before I judge the mayonnaise in the coffee.
Yeah, one team like that, Kenny, that you're saying, like, getting 2 first-rounders in the first round, and that's what they did. This team, the Falcons, if they want to compete for this division, they want to compete with Tampa, who I was just talking about, well, they're trying it. They got Jalen Walker and they got James Pierce, who both play the defensive line, both edge rushers, really. So they may have reshaped their entire defense right there, depending on how those 2 players play. So I'm looking for them to have a really big impact and try to take over Tampa Bay. Am I picking them over Tampa Bay? Nope, absolutely not. But I could change my mind later on. We'll see. We got a lot of time left, boys.
So we have someone in the chat about bus lists. So how would you guys do the bus list next week? What do you think?
Oh yeah, you know what? That should be interesting.
Yeah, we'll fit that. We'll fit that in next week. Truth, we'll fit that the bus list because that
Please
could be
return.
Because I think that we could include not only the guys we think are going to be busts as far as rookies, but guys that really haven't performed. The guys were rookies last year that we think might end up not really, being up to snuff. Steve-O Supremo says Sanders already.
I got he's going to be.
Which one, Shiloh or Shedeur? You got to be a little bit more specific there.
Both, I think, are going to be fantastic in the NFL.
Can't wait to see what Shedeur can do, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait. It's too bad there's no Hard Knocks on Cleveland this year. I mean, everybody would be watching.
Oh my God, that'd be must see.
Everyone would be watching that. Dude.
Just to watch Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders sit next to each other in the film room would just that'd be must see TV.
Classic, absolute classic, man. Love it.
Mason Graham, how dare you? The Michigan slander will not be tolerated on this show. We're gonna. Not
have it. Will not have it.
No, Mason Graham will be one of those guys. Have a big impact too.
Speaking of the Falcons, there their OC, Zach Robinson, and Kenny, I think you pointed this out to me, that they're trying to make Kyle Pitts a bigger part of the offense this year. And where has he been, really? I mean, damn, you draft a tight end that high. He's still been on your team now for, 4 years or whatever it's been, kid out of Florida? What's up?
Not many touchdowns for Kyle Pitts. If he had been a Niner, he might be one of the leaders in the NFL tight end touchdowns. Wow. I think I'm going to have to blame it on the quarterbacks a little bit in Atlanta.
Yeah. You could do that. And let's see what Michael Penix does in Atlanta now, too.
I wanted him on the Giants so bad.
Now you got Jackson Dart, man, for better or for worse. He's all yours. Hopefully it's not a redo of Daniel Jones.
Apology accepted, Truth. Apology accepted.
Daniel Jones, with an offensive line and a little better team, maybe Daniel Jones isn't done. Maybe, hey, well, all right, I'll ask you guys real quick. What do you guys think? Does Daniel Jones steal the job from AR, and does he do well this year?
I told you that. Remember we talked about that. I said, absolutely. And I say if that happens, I say Anthony Richardson will be out of the league, because if you're bad enough to lose your starting job to Daniel Jones, Daniel Jones, then then that doesn't say a lot about you. And if anything, it'd be time for him to leave Indianapolis, because you can't even stand there as backup watching Daniel Jones take your spot. I couldn't do it.
Maybe in Canada playing for the Canadian Football League,
The Toronto
What?
Argonauts.
The Colts would release him. Let's say the Colts actually release another team would take a flyer on him and give him
100%. He would be gone in 2 seconds.
Yeah,
Pittsburgh.
Right.
Speaking of Pittsburgh,
please do something. What is happening to your organization? You're being destroyed from the inside out.
I don't like how Pittsburgh got rid of their best offensive weapon. I thought that was silly. But what I will say about Pittsburgh is that I hear a lot of things out there. Sometimes I read them. This I heard. They're the ones that are going all in for Arch Manning next year.
Well, they might be well on their way right now, because, right now they have a 3 or 4 win team, the way things look to me right now. They have a tough-ass defense, but how many times can they hold their opponent to 10 points,
Yeah.
Can't do it.
No, and I know that's always been kind of Pittsburgh's thing. We'll beat you on defense and we'll score 7.5 points a game and kind of take our chances. But, this is a different NFL now, and I think that's one of the things that have pissed people off with the Steelers to this point, Mike Tomlin, is that offensively they haven't evolved at all. Even they have a good receiver here and there, but it's just dink and dunk. And I know that the quarterback, they haven't really had any good quarterbacks since Roethlisberger, but you got some sort of creativity, some sort of something to show your fans that you're serious about winning that division, because right now, you're in a position where right now you're the 3rd best team in that division. And that's not going to be good enough in the AFC to make the playoffs.
Well, you know what's funny about Pittsburgh? Same thing that's funny about Dallas. Same thing that's funny about the Niners. They're okay winning regular season. They're okay winning playoff games. They don't care if they win a Super Bowl. They're a huge market team. They make a shit ton of money. It doesn't affect them if they don't win the Super Bowl.
And, well, Jason was talking earlier
Ron,
about...
can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear.
We got you.
Jason was talking earlier about John Harbaugh. And it's been, 75 years since he won a Super Bowl. It's been a long time since Tomlin's won a Super Bowl. It's been a long time since they've made a significant run in the playoffs. So it's one of those things, man, where if Tomlin doesn't get fired, it will be one of those mutual parting of the ways type thing, and over the next year or two. So Pittsburgh's going to be a team to watch as far as from a dynamic standpoint internally, to see what the hell goes on with them the next 2 years. But Mike Tom, if you're out there, you heard Jason yell loud and clear, do something.
Listen, if you're the Niners, you're Pittsburgh.
Put that on a terrible towel.
The Niners and Pittsburgh, why don't you just switch? Send Kyle Shanahan to Pittsburgh and the Niners take Tomlin. I could see that happening.
Yeah, that'd be the first time a coach swap. How about that? That'd be amazing. And
that would be
fun.
Trade the coaches and then swap like a 6th and a 7th rounder or some shit like that. That would be
unbelievable. Crazy. Well, the truth saying the Colts drafted a good tight end. Tyler Warren is who they drafted. Daniel Jones will have fun throwing it to him, not Anthony Richardson. Jesus Christ, I can't believe it. That's who they bring in. Unbelievable. What a bad situation. And you know what the sick part is? Daniel Jones actually will play halfway decent. And they're going to be in the middle of the pack again with like a 6 or a 7 win team, something like that.
Another thing about the Colts is that they took one of my favorite running backs in this draft, DJ Giddens, and they already have Jonathan Stewart. What's his name? Jonathan Stewart?
Taylor.
I never remember his damn name. Jonathan Taylor, DJ Giddens, the 1-2 punch of those guys, I like it.
But who they throwing the ball to outside of Tyler Warren?
But they got Michael Pittman. Who they have.
Isn't Amari Cooper? Is Amari Cooper still? No. He's still out there, isn't he?
Yeah, he's still out there. Keenan Allen's out there. Amari Cooper's out there. I mean, not really too much other.
And there's some teams that have decent wide receivers because they're stacked and they can make a little trade.
Oh, Gabe Davis is still out there.
Actually, Gabe Davis just didn't Gabe? I think he just got released.
Yeah, he's out there now.
Yeah, he is. Yep, that was kind of a shock. But
no, I'm sorry. I was going to say Jalen Coker, but he is a Panther. So.
Under the helmet saying Josh Downs was his draft crush last year. Josh Downs played really good in a lot of games for Indianapolis.
Yeah, he did.
Not bad.
They they need more. There's something missing with the Colts, and I can't quite put my finger
on.
Well,
those wide receivers are not going to be able to put up numbers without a good quarterback, and Anthony Richardson is not a good quarterback. So how are these guys going to have Pro Bowl numbers?
So you're saying Daniel Jones isn't the long-term answer for the Colts? Is that what you're telling me right now?
Is the AFC up for grabs then, you guys? Is the AFC up for grabs, or is it all Houston?
All who?
Yeah.
Tank Dell's still the timeline on him, by the way, is still uncertain. If I were to say if that's a yes or no question, if that's a yes or no question, Kenny, yes, I would say the AFC is up for grabs. I don't think the Chiefs have that death grip on it that they had.
Well, I meant just the South, but
the AFC South.
I'm saying the entire AFC period. I think
you're absolutely right.
It's still probably a 4 or 5 team race, but it's not. It's still up for grabs as far as Kansas City not having the chokehold on the conference.
Yeah, we got the Chiefs, the Chargers, Denver,
Ravens,
Bills.
Got the Ravens. I mean, the Bills for sure, no doubt about it. And then you're looking at maybe Cincinnati could possibly be a team that could be in there this year. So, I mean, it's your usual suspects for the most part that are there. And the NFC is always a freaking crapshoot, man. You don't know what the hell's going to go on in the NFC. You know that Philly will be around. All right, Dallas looks like they at least got themselves in the playoffs this year. What's going to happen in the NFC West? Is it really going to be the Rams and that's it? Leave everybody in the dust? I'm not going to say that right away. Tampa, Atlanta fighting for that division. Then you got the NFC East where you got Washington, Philly, Dallas. I mean, and then I'm sorry, the NFC North. Excuse me, Green Bay, Detroit, Minnesota, and now the Bears, who we know are going to get better. We talked about it earlier in the show. That's going to be tough, man. Man, that's going to be
tough. Or those teams beat themselves up in division. Maybe.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen.
Maybe the Niners.
But three teams made the playoffs out of that division last year: Green Bay, Minnesota, and Detroit. And
I don't know how they had such amazing records. That was incredible.
Yeah,
let me ask you guys this: is this going to be? And I know this is probably hyperbolic at this point. Is this going to be one of the? How forward are you looking to this season coming up as opposed to seasons past? Because I'm looking just based on, like Jason mentioned, some of the division wars that we're going to see. You know, you got 3 good teams in the AFC North. You got 4 good teams potentially in the NFC North. You got the NFC East is going to have 2 or 3 really good. I mean, this season, man, this might be one of the best, most exciting seasons. And I'm actually looking forward to this season like I haven't looked forward to a season probably, in the last 3-4 years at least.
Prime, I think now that the dragon has been slayed in the Kansas City Chiefs and they are no longer the champions, that it is wide open for not just the AFC but the NFC and for any team to come in there. We're going to be a lot of people are going to be behind Detroit. Detroit getting all those players back. Yes, they lost their coordinators, but let's see if Dan Campbell can keep the ship going. Man, there's going to be a lot of teams that are up for it. Baltimore, we know that they're thirsting for it. Buffalo, thirsting for it. No question about it. Chargers are looking to get back to what they want to be with Jim Harbaugh, excuse me. So there's a lot of good teams out there. I fear Tampa if I'm in the NFC. Watch out for them. If Sam Darnold does well, okay. If Kyler Murray does well, okay. We'll see. But again, we talk about those teams in the NFC East and the NFC North. There are 6 to 7 good teams right there.
Hey, you didn't mention Dallas. You didn't mention Dallas.
No, I did. I like that. I do. I think this move makes them a playoff contender, not a championship contender by any means, but a playoff contender. They will be good enough to make the playoffs. They can win 10, 11 games this year, Dallas, for sure. Yeah, Chiefs took some iffy players, but Niners saying no doubt. Yeah, I mean, and they seem to hit on these guys. It's pretty amazing.
They're allowed to take those risks when you won 3-4 Super Bowls in the last 10 years. You know what I mean? So
Under Helmet saying, why not the Broncos? Broncos with a question mark. Yeah, why not? No, they showed us last year they could do it. Why? Why not? Absolutely.
The Broncos definitely have a chance. Do the Raiders have a chance, you
guys? I guess
no.
It's the Raiders. Nah. No, sorry.
However,
not yet.
No. I think it's not because they're going to be necessarily a horrible team. It's just there's so many other teams that are better than them. Yeah. I think that's the Raiders. That's what the Raiders, I kind of talked about it last week. It's not, when you pick up people, you pick them up to see if, you got to kind of rank yourself and be honest with yourself as to who you're going to be better than. And I think, it would have took a miracle when you look at the AFC and how deep they are. It would have took a miracle for the Raiders to even crack the top 8 in the AFC. So, no, it's not, like I say, not necessarily because they're going to be horrible, which they probably will be, but it's just because there's so many other teams that's better than them.
Yeah, man, I'm liking a new Super Bowl this year, Kenny. I think Baltimore, Detroit. I'm not putting it in officially yet, but I'm.
You said it. You heard him, Chad. He said it.
Yeah, I said Ravens, Eagles. You said Baltimore, Ravens, and Detroit.
And Detroit Lions. Yeah, I think I really feel like this is the Lions' year this year, not because they deserve it, because they're good enough to do it. But I do question. I'm curious. No more Ben Johnson. No more Aaron Glenn. You got 2 fresh new faces in there, and let's see if they can get and command the attention of the team like those other 2 coordinators did. So that would give me a little bit of pause, but they got the players for it.
I still think, though, I would have liked to see them add a little bit more depth at wide receiver. They picked Tesla in the draft. Don't know really how I feel about that, but I did mention before that a lot of the offense, yes, it was Ben Johnson, but Dan Campbell, this is Dan Campbell's baby. And I think as long as, and they were able to keep a lot of their position coaches. They were able to keep a lot of their peripheral coaches. Dan Campbell, to me, will make sure that team is ready to play every week. I don't see a huge drop-off. And for Vegas to say that they were only going to win 10.5 games this season, that's an absolute joke. They're at least a 12-win team. I know you're not going to win 15, 16 games, but they're at the very least, they're a 12-win team. They're still the best team in that division, no matter how much the Bears scare me. But I am a little bit worried, like you though, Jay, just a tad about it's the cohesion thing. It's not necessarily it's people that they lost. It's just the chemistry.
They always listen. The Bears win. They always win the off season every single year. That's the truth. Bears win the off season all the time.
No doubt. Well, the Lions will see. So you got John Morton as the new offensive coordinator, and then Kelvin Shepard as the new defensive coordinator. They have experience, like you talked about. So let's see if they could actually go ahead and get the job done. We got time, but we're going to fill this naked nastiness of emptiness of no football on TV, this UFL time that's going on right now.
Yeah, baby, go Michigan Panthers. We're 4-2 right now. Let's do this.
We're still going to be here on Thursdays doing our thing, NFL all the way. We might mix in a little bit of basketball with the playoffs on, like you already know. I'm a Knicks fan. And Mr. Primetime, I'm sorry we had to take down your Detroit team over there.
What, man, that series should have been over,
I don't know if Prime knows this. That's also my team. Detroit Pistons are my basketball.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Wow.
Hey, by the way, who's the head coach of the Michigan Panthers? There you go. That's a trivia question for you.
Ooh.
Oh, man.
Does the name Mike Nolan ring a bell at all?
Oh, what? God. He used to wear suits on the sideline, bro. He used to wear suits as a head coach on the sideline for the 49ers.
Awesome. Like, channeling his inner Vince Lombardi.
What a dork.
Oh, my God. Who's the matriculating the ball down the field? Who was that coach? For the Chiefs. Wasn't it for the Chiefs? Let's matriculate the ball down. That was back. Yeah, he used to wear, Tom Landry. Suits, baby.
Hell yeah.
Cade Cunningham is a young stud.
For the Cowboys. And then, Hank Stram for the Chiefs.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Let's matriculate.
65 power trap, boys. 65 power trap, boys. That's the way they
Oh, man. Thanks under the helmet. That's funny.
Appreciate it under the helmet. Yeah, people are watching the NBA playoffs, man. You know what? That's right. The game is on. I want to watch it, too. I want to see what's happening. So it is time for us to get out of here at $1:18 and ticking. But it's been a great show as always, man. I love Thursday nights, and this is my good birthday present, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, happy birthday, man. Enjoy it.
Thanks a lot, Under the Pie. You said, hands down, I think this is the best sports podcast. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for the love. We couldn't do it without you guys. We wouldn't do it without
you
you
make
guys.
It all that much better. Under the helmet, Low That Truth 81 coming in with some powerful stuff today. Love it.
Hey, Jay, since we got everybody in the chat right now, you want to run that? You want to give the Jordan?
Yeah, man, that's a great idea.
Just for Jordan?
You're getting good at this radio thing, brother. Let me tell you. Yeah, definitely do this for Jordan L. Cronin Charitable Fund. I don't have to read everything again, but if you go to www.joinusforjordan.org, that's for FOR, not the number, joinusforjordan.org. You can read about his story and check out all this cool stuff that they got here. I mean, this is just nothing. They have all these crazy outfits. They got it's a very cool logo. Very cool logo. I love it.
It really is.
Yeah.
Really.
I got that as a birthday present. But yeah, they got shirts, they got pajamas, hats, mugs, cups, like all that stuff, man. And it's for a great cause too. They actually donate to St. Jude Children's Hospital.
Nice. That's my favorite.
That's one of that's my favorite too. And
those commercials make me cry, man. When I see one of those commercials come on TV, I got to turn the channel. I can't even watch them. It's sick that kids have to go through stuff like that.
It's not right.
Yeah, guys, make sure you check that out. Make sure you check us out each and every week.
I love people who give back, man, and they give back. They give back. They really do it. This is not just about their son. This is as far widespread as they can get it to. So, yeah, big thing. Really appreciate you guys, letting me get that in there and letting them present the show today. Absolutely awesome. Had a freaking great time. And all you guys out there, man, you make the show so much better. We love your questions. I see your banter going on the side. Let you have your side conversation.
Yeah.
You want
we like the chat here and talking, and we interact with the chat. We like that. Yeah. We're not ignore you for the listeners. We're here.
No, that's right. We need you guys, so we appreciate it very much. No doubt.
Absolutely.
Back next Thursday with some busts that apparently that we're going to do, but also the NFL schedule is coming out next week.
I can't wait.
We're going to talk about that, baby.
Can't wait.
A lot of fun. Oh, you got to love it. All right, Power 32, Power Hour. We're out of here. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Peace.